Hey, you guys, welcome to Behind the Cards. My name is Bobby, and today I am joined by one of my favorite people to watch online, Miss Linda de Gonzalez. How are
Hi,
you, my dear?
I'm great. Thanks very much for having me here, Bobby.
No
And
problem.
Wanda, who's off stage right now, but I think I'm going to have to get up and get her because now she hears me talking to someone and she's
She wants to
interested.
be part of the party. Okay, go
She
get
wants
Wanda,
to
and
come to
I'll
the
I'll
party.
start the introduction here.
Okay, I'll come
Um,
right back.
okay, Today, Linda is joining me on Behind the Cards. And for those of you who have never seen Behind the Cards, what it is a series of questions that I ask my guests based on the 22 cards of the major arcana. It gives us a full look at my clients or my guests' lives. I said clients. I am a professional tarot card reader, so tarot is day in, day out for me. Um, we are joined today by a couple of people. Welcome back, my dear. Hey, Wanda, how you doing, my love?
She's feeling better.
Let's say hi. We've already got a couple people here. Jacqueline, Diane G, one of my favorite peoples in the whole world.
Me too.
We've got, I know I saw Brenda here. Yep, there she is. Madam Maru. How you doing,
John
Maruta?
and Jonathan.
Julie,
Yeah.
Jonathan. Hey, what's up, bro? Jonathan, dude, you've been working out. It shows, my friend. I'm impressed. You have inspired me to go get a gym membership. That's step one. Getting my ass out of the house to the gym. That's step two. We'll see if I can do that. Essence of the Moon, Selena. I want to show you guys something. Where did I put it? Oh no, I might have left it in the other room. Selena sent me these little plaques, one for Hermes and one for Hecate. They're
Oh,
so pretty. Um, Thank you, Selena. And just so you guys know, Selena and I will be live every Thursday night from now on um,
ooh.
with a show called Behind the Moon.
Oh,
But there is a twist to this story that we just settled yesterday. Behind the Moon will have two moons. Selena, Essence of the Moon, and Ramon, Moon Scarab, will be with us weekly. So I'm excited about that. Essence of the
that'll
Moon, Moon Scarab, and Wild Raven Tarot. Donna, how you doing? Oh, we got several people here. Look, everybody wants to hear all about you. Mary.
really boring.
Okay, so, um, Linda, before we get into the questions, can you tell us about yourself and what your special gifts are before I start?
My special gifts. I most people know me as an Akashic Records reader. Um, I'm also a psychic medium. So yes, I talk to dead people. Um, and in what I do online is mostly Akashic Records readings because there's very few people doing them, and I think that they're really important to share with people. I think that's something that's really important. So that's mostly what I do, what you see me do. But in private readings, I use all my skills. So I will talk to your grandma. I will. I will use my psychic gifts to see what I can find. I will pull cards for you. I will do whatever. But that's just because you know me well, Jonathan. Um, and but that's not something that I usually do on my live streams.
Awesome. And everybody in our tribe knows. I'm looking, I don't see anybody who's not a regular, but if somebody's watching on playback, can you please explain what the Akashic Records are?
Oh, sure. The Akashic Records are the record of everything. Okay. I've done a reading for my girlfriend's house. I read her. I went into the records and looked at her house. You can look at buildings. You can look at things like Göbekli Tepe. We've looked. I'm part of a practice group of Akashic Records readers, and
Hmm.
we've looked at. Last week we looked at Lemuria. Well, no, actually, last week we looked at the Moai statues on Easter Island, and that's connected to
Right.
Lemuria. And uh, you can look at anything that ever was, past, present, or future, and whether it's on planet or off planet. Now,
Right.
for me, the off planet stuff is difficult to read because I get so distracted by how cool it is and how different it is. And is that a sentient plant? I mean, holy, look, this, like it's just so cool. Um, and so I tend to go off there. The future, when people ask me questions about their future, I'm much more confident either using cards like tarot or oracle cards, or my own psychic abilities, because the Akashic Records masters, they're kind of they're very sparing with their information about the future. For me, other readers may have a different experience, but my experience is they don't like to talk about the future, because what they told me was it limits your choices now, and that's never a good thing.
Gotcha. This is fascinating. Linda is, what does this say? Linda is an Akashic reading, the same as a past life
No,
regression.
no, no. An Akashic reading is, I'm telling you what I see happening. Okay, because I see, it's a movie happening, like I'm watching it on my tablet or my laptop in front of my eyes, which, that's why my eyes are mostly closed when I'm actually reading, so that I can see it more clearly. I see a movie and I tell you the story of what I see. Depending on the circumstances, things will be edited, because everything that is on the internet is forever and it's global. So there are things that I will not say on the internet. And so, and, things that involve violence or coercion, sexual coercion or sexual assault, or like really stuff that I would absolutely say during a private reading, because then we can talk through it together. I will not say in public forever, like for it to be there forever and ever and ever. You don't need that
Oh,
stuff
I
to,
get that. I,
you know.
I, if you go back and watch a lot of my videos, I do the same thing. I won't put people's, if I get a hit on something, just because I see it doesn't mean I'm going to say it.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
will let people know. There's, we should probably take this offline. So, give me a
Yeah,
shout, and we'll set up a private for you at no
yeah,
cost.
yeah,
But I'm not gonna. If I see
yeah, yeah,
somebody's having an
exactly.
affair, I'm not gonna throw that all out on the internet.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
You know
exactly. That's
that.
that's like that's that I consider that not just irresponsible, but also unethical. In a
Yeah.
past life regression, usually what happens is that you see for yourself what happened in that past life. You re-experience it. I haven't done one, so I'm just seen them done. I mean, they're on YouTube. Ali did one that she posted with Dave Johnson.
Mhm.
And so you're experiencing it and you're reporting it. So that's the difference between Akashic Records and a past life regression. They deal with the same subject. One is me telling you, the other one is you doing it yourself.
Gotcha. That's awesome. I love this. Well, Linda, you ready?
Yes, Bobby. Yeah,
All right.
hit
Now,
me.
hit
No,
me with
don't,
your
not really.
arithmetic. For the
um,
purposes of today, I have pulled out my big, what is it called? Universal Tarot Professional Edition. I don't know why they call it Professional Edition. Is it just because it's so big? But all
is there
right.
an amateur edition? Whatever.
Right. Exactly. So here's what I got for you. The first question deals with the Fool. The Fool is new
Mm.
beginnings, innocence, purity, adventure, and rebellion. My question for you is, where would you say your spiritual journey began?
Yeah, many lifetimes ago is one answer. Another answer that's more uh, pertinent, I suppose, um, is um, when I was 17, I was a good Catholic girl. I went to Catholic convents. I went to Mass every day because you had to before
Mhm.
breakfast. And yeah, I know. And um, but I believed in God. I tried being it when I was 17, and I went to university, and I was trying to not believe in God because um, because I guess I thought it was cool or something. But I tried really hard not to believe in God for like the better part of a year, and because I could see how religion was screwing people up, and
Yeah.
and I had an epiphany during Mass one Sunday, and really realized how perverted religion had become. So that instead of being uh, a sort a way to connect with God, a way to connect with the Creator, with the source of all being, it had become empty ritual. And anyway, enough of that. And plus, there was a certain amount of religious trauma involved in that. Anyway, so so I um, very shortly thereafter, like a day or two later, I ran across somebody who told me about the Baha'i faith. And I became a Baha'i immediately because those were values that I knew were true and real and that I
Mhm.
espoused myself in in the way that a 17-year-old is passionate, you know.
Right.
And so I stayed a Baha'i for I don't know, 50 years. I still
Wow.
am. I still am. Yeah, oh yeah. I went to the Arctic as a pioneer. I did a lot. Anyway, that's not what's important. What is important is that that really helped me develop my own spirituality. I prayed daily. I meditated as best I could, which, you know, I fell asleep a lot. And yeah, I finally realized, you know, once recently, like in the last couple of years, I've been able to meditate. And I realize now that the reason I was always falling asleep was because I was friggin' exhausted. Okay. I had a full time job. I had one, two, and then three kids. And, you know, all of that. And yeah, no wonder I couldn't meditate. Man, I couldn't keep my eyes open. So, so yeah,
Okay.
that's
Um,
kind of that was the beginning of it.
beginning.
I no longer I am still a Baha'i. I no longer participate in the community because I don't feel safe there because of people's opinions about what I do, and it's too precious to what I'm doing now is too precious to me to want to
Yeah.
subject myself to having anybody say, "Well, you know, that's phony." You know, I think you're a phony. Well,
I know. I
sure.
get that. I'm a professional card reader. I run
Yes.
up against this a lot.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And I just don't want to
my
deal with that because I'll say something that will be
I just tell them
repeated.
it's
Let's
not
just
my
put it
job to
that way.
convince you.
You know what she said to me.
Right. Um, now, our next question kind of ties in with the first one. The magician. The magician is willpower, manifestation, creation, communication, and building something. My
Yeah, yeah,
question
yeah.
to you is, when did the communication with the Akashic Records take place? How did that come about?
Oh, okay. So I guess it's 2.5 years ago now, I think. Uh oh no, a year and a half. Okay, so 23, the summer of 23. I was, oh, Aaron, you're so sweet. Thank you. I was part of a book club that Alice Martin had, and every month we read a different book, and then we get together on Zoom to discuss it. It was really opened my eyes because we read some really interesting stuff. And one of the books was Linda Howe's How to Read the Akashic Records. And she has instructions in there about how to read the Akashic Records. And I thought, wow, sure, okay, I'll try this because I can do anything if I can read. If I can read instructions, I can do it. Okay.
Yeah.
And so I didn't get in I didn't get into the records the first time, but the second time I tried it, I did. Now, Linda Howe's method, as described in that book, she may have developed a new one since then, but it takes like half an hour. It's complicated. It requires that you either learn it by heart, yeah, or you meditate for 5 minutes on this prescribed topic, and then you open the book and you read the next bit of the ritual, of the process, and then you close it, and then you meditate again, and then you repeat it 3 times or aloud or whatever. So it's this whole long process, and it takes like half an hour to do. Now, God bless Linda Howe for putting it out there, because I had no idea. I mean, I kind of knew what the Akashic Records were, but suddenly that second time, there I was dangling in space, outer space. Okay. I'm not joking. I love space, but yeah, there's a nebula, this beautiful red and blue nebula in front of me with little sparkling lights all over it from stars and being born and dying and living and all the rest of the stuff that start. And there was a group of hooded figures, and hooded, I mean like monks. Mm. Okay. Just standing there, and I can't say, I get this moment changed my life. They said to me, "Oh, Linda, we're so glad you're here." And I felt the most overwhelming wash of unconditional love like I've never felt in my life. It was incredible to me. And I started to cry. And they said, no, come. We've been waiting for you. And I went, oh, me? And so I went, and they showed me a lifetime, and they talked to me, and it was a profoundly life-changing moment. Yeah. That was my first contact. And then Val, a couple of months later, Val offered her first Akashic Records class, and I was lucky to participate in that. And
you confuse me for.
Huh?
I have a friend named Val. One of my best friends out here is named Val. Who does Akashic readings and mediumship. So I was like, yeah. Val, you took lessons with Val?
No, Val Dragonfly Crystals. Yeah. Her method is much faster and much easier. You see me do it every week, or Viviani. It's very easy, very fast. She teaches it in like 3 hours, and then you're reading the records. And it's really it's so much easier than the first way I tried it. And yeah.
Gotcha. Let's go on to the High Priestess, who represents intuition, mystery, and the subconscious mind. There her is. Now,
I like her so much. I feel so close to her.
Yeah. What you were saying about them showing you things, my connection with the goddess Hecate was similar to that. I'll do a show on it, but basically I was shown what's behind the veil and realized I was living my life all wrong, and I had to get a grip on
kick in the pants when that happens, isn't it?
Yeah, I was like, I'm doing this all wrong. Okay.
Now what do I do? Holy moly! Yeah.
Was it difficult for you to trust your intuition at first?
Yes. Yes, it was. And then I had a couple of experiences so in practice sessions, and practice sessions are really important for any light worker. Okay. I don't care if you're reading tarot or um, if you're a psychic medium or whatever your method is of connecting with spirit. But it's really important to be in a safe space where you can make mistakes, unlike a private reading. Okay. But a safe space to have somebody say, no, that doesn't resonate at all. I don't know who you're talking about. I don't know who you're talking to be able to give feedback like that is really important for your growth. Well, it was really important for my growth and development. And I learned there to trust what came to me, because, there was meaning to it. Even if it made no sense to me, I should just say it. It was actually Kevin Lewis, who kept repeating that in his class. I took that class from him. He said, it doesn't matter how silly it seems to you. Just please, just say it. Just say it. And I learned in those practice sessions, I learned that. So now I still have. Sometimes I go to another reader and say, I got this. Tell me what you get, just for validation, because it's either really outlandish or really doesn't resonate. And so, yeah. Hi, Miss Tarot D. How nice to see you.
Sugar, you left your earring on my nightstand, by the way. Anyway, moving on. Our next question deals with the Empress. You mentioned that you have children. Was it difficult coming out of the spiritual closet with them?
I haven't. I'm still in the spiritual closet with them.
We call that the broom closet.
Yeah, I'm in the broom closet down the hall. That's right. I haven't told them what I'm doing. I haven't told them that I brought oracle cards as a gift to my daughter-in-law, and the fairy deck for the Hafiz deck for her, and the fairy deck for my granddaughter, and so we had a lovely evening together. But I never said anything to them about reading tarot or the Akashic Records or being a psychic medium, and I think they're still living in happy ignorance. And my daughter, I haven't said a word to her either.
Do you think they would be supportive?
I don't know.
Yeah, okay.
See, if I knew, I'd be telling them, right? If I could count on it, I'd be telling them. But I don't know.
Members of my family that do not know what I do. It blows my mind that they have no clue. I make no secret of it. And they just haven't put the pieces together, and I haven't gone out of my way to fill them in.
So I haven't said a word about. I have never sent either of them links to anything, and least of all my shows, and because I hope they stay off of YouTube in case I show up accidentally in their feed, and So no, I haven't said anything to either of them. They are just because I'm scared.
That's understandable. So our next question is this bad boy, the Emperor, and he signifies authority, structure, and leadership.
I'm sorry. I got distracted. Miss Tarot D is hilarious. I have thought of something outrageous to say to them, so that finding out that I read cards and read the Akashic Records would be like, oh, well, at least she's not hanging around with that uncle.
Right. At least she's not pregnant.
At least she's not pregnant. She's not living with one of those horrible men that she always used to pick. Yeah. That's perfect. Sorry. Back to your question. Yes, the Emperor.
Well, the Emperor question is that I see you online. You do so much. You've got the Akashic Records. I know you've got your personal life, the animals. How do you structure everything? How do you? Is it difficult?
Well, I have no real. Stop it. I have no real demands on my. She's nipping at me. I have no real demands on me. Okay. I'm retired. You can't make me do anything I don't want to do. And Yeah, and so that's very liberating in so many ways. Um, I'm independently wealthy.
Oh, ooh la la.
Well, it's the pension, right? I
Right.
worked for it for like what 60 years, so why not? Um, the I'm looking around trying to structure. Okay, well, this is the only structure that I can think of that I have that I maintain. It's my schedule.
Wow, that's
Okay.
more
And
structure than I have.
and I guard this with my life. It's beside me all the time. This is contains my life, and all the reminders that I need, all the when I need to, do stuff, that's all in there. What shows I'm doing, who's going to be on them, who's hosting, do I need to change the co-host or admin or whatever, all that's in there. And if I tell you that in my previous lifetime as a worker, I was an accounting clerk. Oh, yeah.
Mm.
Yeah. As an accounting clerk, I was the queen of spreadsheets.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
I may
I'm
need your
very
help off to the side
good.
because I can't figure out how to make one, and I need to create a couple.
Oh, well, let me know because I am the fucking queen of spreadsheets. Okay. It I can do pivot tables. I can do all kinds of stuff with spreadsheets.
I don't know
This
what
is
pivot
this is
tables
what
are.
I do now because I don't have Microsoft Office anymore.
Mm.
And um, yeah, so that's the structure that I have. The other structure that I have is feeding time for the birds,
Ah,
and that's it. The rest of it is entirely up to me. I do my laundry when I have dirty clothes. I eat when I'm hungry. I don't have to cook, two veg and steak for anybody. I live alone. Well, I
right.
live with Wanda and the budgies, but you know what I mean. I don't have anyone else's demands to meet. It has been, and this is the first time in my life that this is the case. Okay, this is the first time that I really lived alone for a long period of time, and it has been eye-opening and painful at times, and also really liberating. So yeah, so that's my structure, is that there, for once, for the first time in my life, there isn't much.
Good. Let's
Yeah.
go with it. So our next card is the Hierophant, and this represents spirituality and teaching and community. Um, was how do you follow any particular path or religion currently? You had said you did.
I
Can you
still
tell us
am a
more about
Baha'i,
that?
but I don't participate in community stuff.
I
In
don't know what
terms,
that is.
oh, it's a religion that was founded in Iran in 1844, and we believe that the founder, his name is Baha'u'llah. We believe that he is the return of Christ. He does fulfill the biblical prophecies. I can tell you that because I looked into it, as well as other people have looked into it, and in fact published books about it. Um, and I still believe that that's true. Um, eh, the things that Baha'u'llah preached was in 1844 in Iran. He preached about the equality of men and women. That made him popular.
In
Not,
Iran?
yeah,
Really?
yeah. And so, which to me is just another indication of, the connection that he had with the Creator, with God.
Hmm.
I hope you people don't mind. I say God because that was how I grew up. And so don't come at me because you prefer that I say the universe or whatever. Yeah. Yeah, it is a really interesting religion, and I still adhere to the principles of the faith. I just don't participate in the community events, again, because I don't feel safe. Spirituality now, um, well, I'll tell you, one of the things about prayer, okay, is that prayer always moved me deeply. Prayer always connected me. I always felt very, very connected to the divine during prayer. And um, I began to realize when I was in my 30s that other people didn't feel that.
Yeah.
And it didn't, people would just read prayers just like, like they're reading a grocery list. And if I was reading a prayer, I would sometimes weep. And so I didn't get asked to read prayers very often. But and that's still the case. If I open up my Bahigh prayer book and there's certain prayers that will get me going. Hi, Donna Marie. Um,
I'm
that I
all over
will
the place, Donna Marie.
that will really get me going. But my spirituality now revolves around that direct connection with the divine and service to others. That's what
Others.
it is. Yeah. I still pray, and I still make sure that I've connected, um, either through prayer or through
I think
readings or some other
that
ways.
is the big word right there, connect.
Yeah.
When I pray, I don't like to call it praying. I like to call it communing, um, because I'm basically establishing a connection between me and the divine every
That's
time
what
I
it is.
pray. And I see what you're saying. A lot of people just say words,
Yeah.
and go. There
Yeah.
is no spiritual connection. They are not.
None. And they don't even, it's like they're not even aware that there can be. It's
Mhm.
like they're not even aware that this is a vehicle for your heart to connect to God, for your heart to get out of yourself and really make a deep connection with your soul and with the divine that surrounds us all. So, and let's not forget, we are divine.
Mhm.
We are,
Yeah.
each one of us, divine. Our souls are carved from source. Our souls
We
are pieces of source, just like God.
yeah.
That's who we are.
We are part of the all. We are not a drop of water in the ocean. We are the
No.
ocean in a drop of water.
Yes.
I I
Yes.
I love that.
Yes. I love that. I love that. We are the ocean in a
I
drop. I'm going to
cannot
remember.
remember I can't remember where I heard that, but it really is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Let's move along here. Our
Yes.
next
Yes, Delphi. Prayer is talking to the God that is us. Yes. Yes, it is.
Ooh, that's nice.
Yeah,
All
I
right.
like
So next we have the lovers. The lovers signifies relationships, choices, and unions.
Do you want to know
Now,
how many times I've been married? Is that what this is about?
we were going in that direction. And how have your romantic
Oh,
partnerships been shaped by your
shitty.
spirituality? Shitty.
Well, I've been married 3 times. I divorced the first two, and the last one died of frustration, I guess. Anyway, no, he was diabetic and he died of heart failure, and it wasn't my fault. I had nothing to do with it.
You're like, I didn't feed him the donuts.
Oh, I didn't. Oh no, we were very strict about his diet. In fact, he lived 3 years longer than the doctors predicted because I had him on a low fat diet, and I would sneak out of the house and get A&W teen burgers because I could only stand it for like 2 weeks at a time, and chocolate bars and all kinds of really bad stuff that he couldn't have, but I wouldn't, and I would, but so he went on a zero fat diet and survived 3 years beyond what was predicted.
I'm trying
So,
to get my sugars under control. Speaking of diabetes,
well,
they've been running 500 and
he
above
was
all week.
he was very disciplined about it, and very diligent, um, but he died. So, um,
I'm sorry.
well, the honest truth, it was a relief
You
when
did
he.
buy him the donuts.
No, I didn't buy him the donuts. I wouldn't be that freaking obvious. He was Chilean, and he would
Ooh.
probably have looked at me and said, "Linda, you're trying to kill me."
Is that where the De Gonzalez comes in?
Yes, yes, that's his name. Yeah, yeah. I never
Because I'll
changed it
tell you
back.
the truth. I saw the name before I heard your voice back last year, I think sometime,
Yeah,
when I started my channel. I heard Linda de Gonzalez, and then I'm expecting to hear this woman with a heavy accent, and you start talking, and I'm like, she doesn't sound Hispanic.
I
It
do
was
speak Spanish.
adorable.
I
It
do
was
speak
adorable.
elementary Spanish. I understand it very well. But no, I'm Ukrainian. Well,
Ooh,
raised by French Canadians, but Ukrainian genetically. And yeah. So yeah, that's my husband's contribution to my life is my name.
they've been running
Oh,
high, Donna. I'm not gonna lie. I'm really trying, and
mm.
I'm not eating sugars or anything. It's just
You're eating carbohydrates, and you have to remember that that converts to
I'm
sugar.
really not. I'm eating a lot of
Okay.
chicken. I'm just having trouble. I think I because of my other health problems, it elevates my diabetes.
Oh, I
So
see.
it's yeah, one feeds off of the other, and yeah. Anyway, back to
Yes.
you. You are the focus of today, my dear. Our next
I thought
question.
that was a nice deflection. Oh, wait, about lovers, and
Oh
I
yeah.
want to finish that. Okay, so since my husband died, there have been a couple of long-term relationships, both of which were toxic in to one degree or another. And I had, after the last one ended, I decided that in a Mexican jail. I'm so glad you didn't say a Mexican brothel because
That's so
that
cool.
would have been just funnier.
Oh my goodness.
uh, no, I learned it in night school. Anyway, uh, yeah, after the last relationship ended, I decided that my picker was broken and I just was not going to have any more relationships because clearly I was incapable of choosing healthy men and like sane, healthy and not snort number two. And my channel, they like to count the number of snorts. And yes. Um and so I haven't been in a relationship. I do get lonely, but I have some oh, you would have been my boss, Miss Harity. Anyway, so I would like the companionship. And at this point in my life, I'm real happy to consider one of my friends as my companions. And I have some really, I'm very blessed. I'm so grateful that I have some really good, close friends, people that I've known for decades, and that have been my rocks through thick and thin, and I'm very, very, very blessed. So so I'm not like lonely, but it's nice to have somebody to cuddle with. And it's nice to have somebody, before you fall asleep, to have the chat about the day. And what do you think about what she said? What do you think she meant? That kind of stuff. And yeah, I miss that, but I don't miss the rest of what came with it, at least so far in my life.
Right.
So I'm good. Thanks very much in
You're
terms
like
of
pass.
lovers and partnerships and all the rest of it. I'm good. I'm well looked after. I have a real solid and loving network of support. Yeah.
Okay, good. Now let's go on to the chariot. The chariot represents determination,
Mm.
control, and willpower. Um, I had a really good question here, but I'm not sure I want to ask it. Has it been difficult moving forward with your path as an Akashic Records reader?
Surprisingly not. I thought I was terrified the first time that Val Dragonfly Crystals had me and Diana and Viviani on her channel, and she introduced us, and she kept us going for like 6 weeks or something, and said, "You guys start your own channel," and we're going, "Whoa!" um, and but we did, um, and the deal that I have with my guides when they booted me and said, you have to do a channel of your own. You have to do this. It can't just be the three of you. You have to do something.
Hmm.
I for months I said, no, I don't want to, I don't want to, I don't want to. And then I agreed to do it, but only if it was fun. So the minute it became work, I quit. I said that. The minute that this becomes work, I'm not. Oh, thank you, Jonathan. The minute that it becomes work, I'm not doing it anymore. And thank you, Tarot Stash. And that's it. It's got to be fun. It's got to be. And now doing this is like the greatest source of joy in my life. It really is. It creates so much joy within me to read for others. I can't even tell you. It just, it's the biggest fun ever.
I get it.
Yeah, I'm sure you do. It's the thing of reading tarot. Yeah.
I've read on and off for 40 years in stores, in metaphysical shops, but I always had a second income, another type of something.
Steady income. Yeah.
Tarot was always my side hustle.
Yeah.
I knew I was never going to get rich doing tarot. So that's why I never did it full time. But after my operation where I couldn't work in my field anymore, and then after COVID, I just thought, what the hell? I'm going to do it. Why not? So I went into doing tarot full time, and then I was lucky enough to find YouTube and this tarot tribe. You've all been amazing and fantastic. By the way, is Linda vaping 420?
No, she's not. Linda doesn't do 420 because it's very unpleasant for me at all. It's very unpleasant, I find.
She starts bar fights.
Huh? No, not even bar fights. No, I can't move. I'm like glued to the couch, and I sit there, and it's like trying to get up. I get dizzy, and I fall on my ass or my face, which is worse. At least my ass is padded, and it's very unpleasant. So I don't do it. And I hardly drink alcohol too. No, this is straight nicotine, always. Well, not straight nicotine. I mean, it's flavored, but yeah.
What's your flavor?
I use this may be exclusively Canadian brand. I'm not sure. I use Crave, it's called. And it's this particular flavor is called Hoops. And there's another one I like called Loopy. And sometimes I mix them. But yeah.
Gerald says, I wonder if that would interfere with accessing the records.
I have wondered that.
On a personal level, I can say that when I read tarot under the influence of 420, it does put me in a liminal space, and it is easier for me to read tarot. The trick is maintaining sovereignty and being able to relate what I'm seeing. That's the challenge.
Yes, Tarot Smash, I did, and I can only say that at this point, after so when did we start? February, a year ago, February. So 12, 13, 14, 15 months. I would say it's probably in the region of 150 or 200. Oh, yeah. And I have to count the Akashic Adventures. Yeah, 200. My wild guess.
Nice.
So did I answer that question? Like, was that?
Yeah.
Can't remember.
You gave a satisfactory answer.
Oh, okay.
Our next question deals with strength. Strength deals with courage, inner strength, and resilience. Now, nowadays, it's hard for people to find their inner strength at times. Where does your inner strength come from? Where do you find your strength?
It's like I have the belief that life goes on and I have to go on with it. And I can go on with grace and with the light guiding my way, or I can go on kicking and screaming. And I choose to go on with joy and acceptance. There have been some really, really difficult things in my life. My son took took his own life 8 years ago now. I can talk about it without crying. And that was, I think, the hardest thing that I've had to deal with, harder than my husband's death, harder than my parents' deaths. It was just harder than leaving my husband with 3 kids. Yeah. So going on from that was really difficult. Just putting your one foot in front of the other, and just, I'm alive, and so I live, if that makes sense.
It does.
It took me, after Matthew died, it took probably 3 years before. Well, it was 3 years before I started growing my hair back. And it took probably about the same length of time before I could talk about it without crying. It broke me in some really, really important ways, for which I am now grateful. Okay, from the perspective of 8 years in the future, I am now grateful for that experience. But at the time, it broke me in pieces. I was like barely functioning for a good 6 months after. Yeah.
Understandable.
I
There's
talk to
only
him now, because I'm a medium. I can talk to him, and he has given me some really important messages that helped me heal. It really helped me heal. I loved him, he wasn't my favorite child, because I don't have a favorite child. I really don't. But he was so much like me in so many ways. And losing him was a big thing. Matthew was mentally ill, and he had drug use problems. And at the time that he died, he was living in Vancouver on the downtown east side in a single room, in an SRO hotel, and because I couldn't live with him. I mean, just let's be honest, I couldn't live with him. His issues were more than I could handle. And so there was a lot of guilt at his death as well,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
That sounds like an awful thing to have to deal with, and I'm sorry you went through it. I'm glad that you were able to use it to, or come out of it on top, basically.
I found meaning in it, and I think that's an important thing in strength, is to find meaning in what you're living. That if it appears to you to just be random ass, the flying fickle finger of fate comes down and flings you across the table. Well, there we go. See, you need meaning. You need to find meaning, and that will give you wisdom, which pulls in strength, which helps you survive and thrive.
Gotcha. Linda, I'm loving this talk with you. Thank you. For those watching on my channel, if you haven't already, please subscribe to Linda. And if you're watching on Linda's channel, please subscribe to my channel. Our next card is the Hermit, and the Hermit symbolizes introspection, wisdom, and solitude. How do you spend your alone time?
Well, sometimes I'm knitting, and usually I'm watching YouTube, various different readers, and sometimes I'm knitting, and other times it's in the background while I do things like wash dishes and stuff like that. I also spend a lot of time on the phone with my friends, and sometimes I just sit here playing with Wanda.
Every time you say Wanda, I hear a fish called Wanda.
I know. She's kind of named after that. When I first met, kind of, because when I first met her, she was like 4 months old, and she was such a baby. And when I saw her in the pet store, adopt, don't shop. Okay, but this is 20 years ago, before that was the deal. Right. It was like she had a glow around her. and I knew we were meant to be together. And so I moved heaven and earth to be able to bring her home with me. And yeah, uh,
I wanted to get a bird once.
oh, they're
Once.
such a pain in the ass. Trust me, such a pain
This
in the ass.
was a pink,
A
like
galah,
the Beretta bird.
a galah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. A
They-
galah cockatoo. Yeah, yeah. I know
The
exactly
thing,
the bird you're talking
the
about.
thing is that this cockatoo used to belong to a porn actress. So I'm sitting there. I'm sitting there in the adoption place looking at the
Oh,
bird
honey.
going, "Who's your pretty bird? Who's your pretty bird?" And that bird started spewing some of the most vile shit I've ever heard in my life. I was like, "What?"
Yes, yes. It's like the bird who never said a word, and all of a sudden there are 6 nuns visiting, and the bird says, "Puta."
That's what I'm talking about. This bird was like, do me harder, harder." I'm like, "Oh my gosh." Um,
I
all right.
love that. No, none of my birds talk, mercifully. But yes, the reason I called her Wanda was I kind of asked her what she wanted to be called, and I saw a picture she sent me. I mean, I don't know. I saw a picture of a fish, and I went, "A fish called Wanda?" Yeah. No, Wanda's not my first bird. I've had other birds, and she's the only one that survived. Because I took in rescues, okay, and they'd already had hard lives, and they were already, old. Well, not old, but they weren't babies when I got them, and so I couldn't control their nutrition, their early nutrition, or anything like that. And so, yeah. But I've had birds since like 1996 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
my friend Bowen. Yeah, Bowen. You came in at the right time.
Yeah.
So let's get on with it. The wheel. We have natural cycles,
Ugh.
change of luck. Can you share a significant turning point in your spiritual journey for us?
Was for me, well, there were 2. There was when I was 17 becoming a Bahigh, and then 3 years ago, getting in touch with, like, discovering Woou, this tribe of people, and finding like-minded souls and people who were interested in because small talk bores the hell out of me. Okay, like just leave me with that shit. I really. But people who are willing to talk about what I thought were important things, like our soul's growth, our soul's development, what I consider we're here for. Nobody else wants to talk about that shit. Really, nobody. And so, yeah. So it was a big turning point for me, was to find a like-minded community, just where I felt safe to be who I am, and to say what I believed, and to say what I felt. Yeah, that was.
It was a huge
I
turning
rehomed my husband. Terrorist Tasha, you say, yeah, I did rehome him to the next realm.
All right. So with justice being our next card, now we're talking about balance, fairness, and truth. My question for you. This is a card that asks us if our actions have been in balance. If you could go back and change one thing in your life, what would you change?
I would never have got married at 18. I would have taken computer science in 1970 when I had the opportunity. I would have had fewer children. Well, because single parent, secretary salary, 3 kids,
Yeah.
And although I suppose if I had a computer science degree in 1970, I would have been making enough money to support them comfortably. What else? Yeah, that's it.
Okay, good. I don't have a lot of regrets because I know if I went back and changed anything, I would just screw it up. I would make things worse. So we have the Hanged
What was
Man,
that?
which is surrender, perspective, and sacrifice. Looking back, what advice do you wish someone had given you, and would you have taken that advice?
Could you repeat that? Looking back, what?
Looking back over your life, what piece of advice do you wish somebody had given you? And if they had given you that advice, do you think you'd have taken it?
Not likely, but I'll tell you the advice that I wish I had received, which was put yourself first. Look after yourself. Make sure that you have what you need, and if you're not getting what you need, leave.
I agree. You can't take care of anybody until you take care of yourself.
Yeah. I wish somebody had told me that when I was 17.
I spent my life doing the 10 of Wands routine, picking up everybody else's sticks, worrying about everybody else's problem.
Tell me about it.
And there just came a point when I was like, dropped everything, and I was like, screw this. I'm capable of being alive too. I need attention. It's time somebody.
Yeah.
And if
Yeah.
none of y'all bitches are gonna focus on me, I can focus on me.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can pat myself on the back.
Yeah. And the last two relationships that I had were with hobosexuals, men who essentially wanted a nice, easy place to live while, and I was an acceptable payment for that, an acceptable burden for that, and yeah, that's never going to happen again.
Good. It bothers me when I see people not recognizing their own sense of independence, their own sense of strength. It really does.
Yeah.
And it
I
hurts
was,
me.
in my defense, I was never taught about boundaries. As a good Catholic girl, you're not allowed to have boundaries. Any adult can do whatever they want and say whatever they want to you as a child, right? Old school.
Are you keeping track on what's happening in chat? Gerald is plotting something.
I saw something about a channel takeover, and I think it's a wonderful.
Gerald wants to turn the channels, turn the tide on me.
Yeah.
All right,
when's this? Oh, good idea.
Yeah.
Have you not heard that before, Jonathan? Homosexual. It's quite. It's on the feminist subreddits.
and homosexual. That's when you're having sex with somebody and they're sleeping on your couch, right?
That's when somebody wants to love bombs you and tells you everything you want to hear and does everything you need and does everything you want and washes the freaking dishes and cooks and so you let him move in 4 months or 6 months and suddenly he's lost his job. Suddenly he's depressed. Suddenly you have the full financial burden of a grown man who is so depressed he can't get off his ass to wash the dishes anymore, much less do any of the things he did to get into your bed in the first place. Okay? That's a homosexual.
Gotcha. Yeah, I've run into a few of those.
That's right. Oh, what do you call a drummer with no girlfriend? Homeless.
Okay, I like that. I had a dirty joke I was shaving for my sister. Now I can't remember it. I'll have to go look it up.
I thought you were going to share it here. Okay.
I was going to right now, but I can't remember it. All right, let's move on.
Yes, Aaron. Nothing is his fault. That's right. And you have to provide all the emotional, financial, and physical labor involved in that entire relationship. While he goes, and you go, oh, I feel so sorry for him. What about his feelings? But he's depressed. How can I kick him out? He'll figure it out. He'll get help or he won't. But he's a grown ass man.
He'll either
he's a grown ass man. He can figure it out.
Or he'll find somebody else to take advantage of, one or the other.
I didn't know there were two of them in a row. I didn't know they were going to be like that. Me neither. I didn't know they were going to be like that.
Yeah, but they usually make the best lovers.
But
It's a
this is for a while until they've got you, until they don't have to make an effort anymore,
mm,
until they think
true
they've
that.
got you trapped, and then the mask falls off, and then they don't have a job anymore. Somehow they've lost their job and they can't find another one, and everything falls off after that. The thing about this is that, yeah, for the first 6 months, yeah, that's right. The thing about that is, first of all, boundaries, and how to prevent that. For me, this is just about me. For me, how to prevent that from happening is to not fall into relationships, not have sex right away, not, if there's any moving in to be done, okay, it's going to take a year at least of contact and connection and friendship and growth and so on before there's any moving going on anywhere.
I'll tell you the truth. I've been with my old fart for the past 25 years, and I think this is it. I'm too damn lazy to start over if something happened to him, or you
There's
know,
that too. Yeah, there's that too. I'm
I
I'm
really don't want to deal with it.
I like being alone. I like not having to worry about what to make for supper. And if I want to have cereal and watermelon for supper, I can. I don't have to,
We do that anyway. We call
you know.
those foraging nights. We'll be like, "What do you want
Yeah,
for dinner?
yeah. What's
What
in
do
the
you want
fridge?
for
Yeah,
dinner? Forage,
yeah, yeah,
whatever
yeah,
you can
yeah.
find."
Oh, Kim says people that are empaths attract users. Absolutely correct.
True that.
Absolutely. And the thing about that is that givers have to have, I didn't know this. This is something else I wish somebody had told me when I was younger. Um, Givers have to have boundaries because takers don't have any.
Oh, yes, that's beautiful.
That's not original. I
Never heard
saw
that.
somebody said that in chat and
No,
I thought,
I've never heard that before, but I'm going to make a
yeah,
point to use that. It's going in my lexicon. Thank you.
yeah. Oh, you're welcome. Take it, spread it around. We all need to know this.
Let's go on with the death card. This is transformation, endings, and rebirth.
Oh,
How
geez.
how do you handle change?
I accept it as the part of life, really. It scares the shit out of me, to be honest. Um, because change is uncomfortable. Change is not, um, change isn't easy in the sense that, oh, whoopee, change. Well, kind of it is, like at work. I love change because it usually meant things got more efficient and more logical and a better flow and stuff like that. But in my own personal life, change usually represents something that, like, I have to transform, and that's always a painful process. I don't care who you are. There's no transformation can take place. At least my observation and experience tells me that I've never seen or experienced a transformation that wasn't painful in some measure.
Yeah.
Some less than others, but absolutely transformation is painful and necessary. And it's, you know, yeah, rebirth. That's what I focus on, is that what the outcome will be that makes it easier for me to undergo. Is that, okay, if I do this, I'll lose 50 pounds and I'll feel better. And so, yeah, so I now have a commitment to a 20-minute walk 3 times a week.
Um, I
Transfer.
don't mind change. I look forward to it because I'm like what you said. Something new is coming. I'm
Yeah.
excited for new things. I like new
Yeah, me too.
things. I get bored if things stay the same.
Yeah,
That's
me
why
too.
I do so many new things. And I'm lucky enough, my husband has given me the emotional and mental support to pretty much do anything I want. And I appreciate him as much as I appreciate my tribe. Y'all are wonderful. What does it say? Oh.
Oh, Jonathan. Oh, how
Ah,
awesome.
Jonathan, I can do you one better. I dated a guy back in 1997. He was 10 years older than I was, had a great
You must
job
have been
as a liquor
14.
distributor. He broke up with me by having his mother call me and break up with me. How do you
Are
like that?
you joking?
No, his mommy called and broke up with me. This was a
What are they?
grown-ass man. Can you believe that? All right.
Yeah,
Uh,
you win.
I win. Nobody has been able to outdo that story. I'm sorry. No matter how you try, having somebody's mommy call to break up takes the cake. So now we've got temperance, which is balance, moderation, and harmony. And now I love
Mm.
temperance. It's survivor's card. This is the wounded warrior card. Was there ever a point in your life where you didn't think you were going to make it? I know you mentioned your son's death. Other than that,
Um,
I'm not downplaying that in any
no,
way.
no, 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 no. I did not hear that at all. I did not. I'm not receiving that from you at all.
Okay.
Um, when I was 4, I tried to kill myself.
4.
Yes,
Me
and this is
neither.
something nobody wants to talk about, but there is a very high rate of child suicide, kids under the age of 10. That happens quite a bit, and nobody wants to talk about it. But you can Google it and find out. Um, I was adopted, and at 3.5, like when I was old enough to toddle around the neighborhood on my own, because don't forget, I grew up in the 50s where you just were put out the door at 8 o'clock in the morning and don't come
Right.
back until I call for you. And, or, don't come
Till
back
the
unless,
street lights come on.
well, not quite like that, but almost. Yeah.
Ours was.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and later on, so was mine, but at 3.5, it wasn't like that. I was going to the neighbor's door, knocking on the door and saying, my mommy doesn't love me anymore. Do you want to adopt me? And so so I was very aware at 3.5 that I was not loved by her and that there was nothing I could do that would please her. And so, and I knew that baby Jesus up in heaven, that's where you went when you died. Okay. You went up with baby Jesus in heaven. And I thought, gee, I think I'd rather be with baby Jesus than here. And I remember this very clearly. I remember this train of thought in my head, this sucks. I'd rather be with baby Jesus. So I went into the bathroom and climbed up onto the sink and got into the aspirin, which I knew was poison because my mother had told me, don't ever touch this. That's poison. And I took a handful of pills and then I toddled back out and by Tarot Stash. I toddled back out again and took them. And within about 5 or 10 minutes, I threw them all up again. And my mother asked me, she said, I told you those are poison. What are you doing? And I said, I want to be with baby Jesus because you don't love me. That's not true. Okay, so first gaslighting. And yeah, and so then I realized, wow, I just had to live with it. So, I just had to endure.
Honey, that's horrific. I'm sorry you felt
Well,
that
it
way.
was. I mean, to even to me telling it now, and this is not a story that I'm putting it on the internet forever, but the lesson from that, okay, is that you need to respect children. You need to respect that they have a much deeper awareness of the truth of what's going on around them, and listen to them and offer support, and not just be bossy to them. You know what I mean? Like not just be so directive and bossy. And so somehow, thanks to my guardian angels, I guess, it I believed at the time that I was going to heaven to be with baby Jesus. And that was a good thing. And that's what I wanted. And that's to me what I was doing. It didn't carry all, I wasn't an adult. So I didn't know what I was. I mean, I didn't know. Very naive. And all I wanted was to be with baby Jesus because I knew that it was better than where I was. And so, and I wasn't afraid of it, which freaks me out now. And I can't believe that I was unusual in that way. I'm sure there's other 4-year-olds who are feeling exactly the same way, that they would rather go be with baby Jesus than living whatever hellish life
I
now.
know I wanted to die at that age too. I did. Well, I came from a very, very, very abusive home. My mom was beat. I was beat. I didn't want to be beat every day, and I wanted to die. And that went on for a long time until my dad left when I was 9. So I get
Yes.
the feeling of being young and not wanting to be here.
Yeah.
And I hope that if there are children out there, that they get the help they need and the love they need and
Yeah.
deserve.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because I believe that children are our future.
Very literally. Yeah. It's not as bad a story as I think you guys are thinking, okay? Like it's I don't feel sad about it. I'm sure my guardian
I
angels, I'm
think
too.
it's not a sense of we're all sad. I think it's a sense of we're all angry at hearing your story. I think every one of us is pissed off
You
at
know, my
hearing
mother
that.
was a very wounded woman. I didn't have your experience. I was not abused, not physically abused, but she really destroyed my self-worth and my self-confidence. And I still fall into old patterns of behavior. It requires a lot of discipline on my part, and sometimes I have it and sometimes I don't, to not fall into that kind of not fall into those old patterns of thinking, yes, of course I can do it if I want to do it. Yes, of course I'm worth loving. Yes, of course I'm a good friend. You know, all those kinds of things.
Yeah. Yeah. Now we're into shadow work when you get into that stuff.
Yeah.
So the devil card symbolizes temptation, materialism, and control. My question for you, I do like the devil on this deck. What was the hardest thing that you ever had to break free of?
My need for male validation.
Ooh, good answer. Good
True.
answer. That
True.
is an illusion.
Yes, absolutely.
That was a quick answer. Okay. Now
Oh, because it's been on my mind. It's been on my mind. I mean, I'm getting to the age where you're reviewing your life and you're looking at stuff, and I'm looking back and thinking, oh my God, like, why did I even hook up with that guy? Like, what, because he said nice things to me? Like, why do I need somebody to say that? And why does it have to come from a man? Why can't I accept it from my girlfriends who love me deeply? I know that,
yeah.
you know?
All right, my love, Miss Tarot D. We'll see you soon.
Bye, Miss Tarot
And
D.
be sure you swing by for that other earring. Okay, now, um,
Love you
where
too, Miss Tarot D.
I dig that chick so much. I love Miss Tarot D.
Me
We
too.
got the Tower, which is sudden change, revolution, upheaval, sudden insight. The question I normally ask here is, how do you deal with upheaval in your life? What's your advice for handling those Tower moments?
Go with the flow. Pray. Ask for strength. Rely on your friends. Have a loving bird sit on your shoulder and bite your ear.
I used to
Um,
work with a girl at a salon. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but when you said pray during the tough times, every now and then she would come running into my room when I was a nail tech. She was a hairstylist. She'd come running in and grab my hand and say, "Pray with me." And she'd close her eyes and said, "Lord, keep me from killing this bitch. Amen." And she'd run right
yeah,
back out.
yeah,
That was
valid prayer. Valid,
keep me
absolutely,
from killing
100%
this
valid
bitch.
prayer.
So it cracked me up every time she did that.
But yeah,
Um,
prayer. prayer helps me a lot, and asking, my guides sending me the assistance that they send, and the affirmations or validations or confirmations, whatever you want to call it. I don't ask for feathers because my house is, floating in feathers. But every so often there will be some little confirmation message that really encourages me to take the next step and keep going, and that it will be okay. It helps that I can read the cards, and although I can't trust the cards that I read for myself. Well, I mean, I can, but I'm iffy about that.
Flavor them.
Yeah, it's hard, and it's hard reading the Akashic records for yourself too, in the same sort of way. So for me, other readers may have no difficulty, but I do. Yeah.
I'm getting better at it. It's only taken 40 years, but I'm getting better at not coloring things in quite the same way with myself.
Yeah.
It is tough. I hadn't thought about that, getting messages from the Akashic records and coloring them with your own viewpoint.
Well, because your emotion, okay, so before I do readings, private readings or online, there's a prayer that I say. I made it up. It's just mine. You can use it if you want. You don't have to. I don't care. But this is my prayer is to the Akashic Records masters, archangels, guides, my angels, beings of light, anybody who gives a shit, basically, and who loves me, to please help me provide their messages in their clarity and purity. Help me remove myself. Help me be a hollow reed. Help me remove my biases, my prejudices, my thoughts, my fucking opinions from the readings that I'm about to give, so people can get your messages in their clarity, in their purity, for their insight and guidance, or something along those lines. Like, I just make it up every time. It's not written down. It's in my heart. And so that helps me with other people. But even when I say that and try to read for myself, I still sort of go, actually, that doesn't apply to past lives. I can read my own past lives pretty clearly. Yeah, pretty clearly. Yeah, because I don't know what's going to come up, right? I've had some really interesting past lives, but I never know what's going to come up.
The only life I've been able to read for myself, because I specifically on Samhain 1 year dedicated that night to examining this one particular past life that I had, because somebody in my current life shared that life with me. I was telling a story about a past regression therapy session I had, and I told 2 lives, and I got to the third one, and as I'm telling it, the guy I was having dinner with, a group of us were out, he finished the story, and I was like, shit. Okay. Yeah.
It's always such an interesting experience, I love reading the Akashic. I mean, this is totally off topic, but I just wanted to tell you, I love reading the Akashic records with tarot readers, because and especially with Tarot Stash. Now that he's not here, I can talk about him. You're not here, Gerald.
Watch him pop in. I knew it.
I knew you were going to do this. It blew my mind when I started reading with Gerald, because I would see an image in my head. This happened I'm thinking of one reading in particular. I saw this image of a storm-tossed sea with little bits of flotsam floating, like broken boards and stuff floating on it. And I opened my eyes, and he's holding up, I forget what card it was. He's holding it up, and that's exactly what it was. And I just,
don't you love that?
Yeah. And it happens, like the way the readings work together, that is like such big magic, man. I love it. I'm addicted to it. I love when that happens, because there's the confirmation, 2 separate people on opposite sides of the country connecting only through the internet. Okay. Or not. are having the exact same psychic, spiritual experience.
Yeah. There's something to the current time that we're in. I think a lot of things are coming to a head now.
Yeah,
Personally, I believe that. Um,
yeah, yeah,
I've, especially in the past few years,
yeah,
I think I've been moved to where I'm supposed to be at physically, location wise, and people are being brought into my life.
yeah,
Situations are being brought into I'm
yeah,
meant to
yeah,
be
yeah, yeah,
here.
yeah, yeah,
So
exactly.
once I stopped fighting it and just went with the flow, like what
Yeah,
you were talking about, change, it became a whole lot easier to deal
yeah,
with.
yeah,
Linda, you're a guiding light to a lot of people. Um,
yeah.
our next card is the Star card, and this
Mm.
deals with hope, inspiration, renewal, and of course, being a guiding light that you are. Um, Looking back, who would you say was your guiding light?
Well, my dad, in a lot of ways, my dad was such a good man. And he never made me feel, I was an only child. I was adopted. I was an only child. He never made me feel less than. He never made me feel like he'd rather have a son. He was a teacher and really good at talking to me. Um, we'd leave the house after supper, my dad and I, because he went for long walks every day. And I guess to de stress. And I went with him because, I wanted to get away from my mother. And,
Right.
you know, and so, and so I went with him and we'd talk about everything, you know. He had a very good education, and especially for his time and place as a French Canadian on the prairies in Canada. He got a university education and became a teacher, and he was an excellent teacher. Um, so I was very, very lucky in having my father. Um, I'm trying to think of another mentor, a mentor type person. My father was definitely the most significant,
It
and
sounds like your father had the same type of impact on you that my grandmother did. She taught me how to think. She didn't just tell me what to think.
yes,
She taught me how to think.
yeah,
She taught me how to look at life, how to examine things.
yeah,
She was the one who taught me the golden rule. I don't even know if they teach that anymore. Um, it- it- Being raised in a family full of witches and spiritualists, cause and effect was a big thing. If you do something, it's going to have an effect. Um, and my grandma was the one who taught me how to think like other people. She taught me how to put myself in their shoes.
yeah,
And
yeah.
I'm
My
glad.
dad did that for me. My dad did that for me. He absolutely taught me that, you know, uh, you will get a reaction with an action gets a reaction. So be careful about your actions because you'll get a
Exactly.
reaction. And don't be stupid.
And another lesson she taught me: if you do something stupid, you can't really bitch about it. So that was a
Yeah.
big one, and I've carried
This
that
was
with
your
me.
choice, so shut up and don't
Yeah.
complain.
Oh, what was the one she? Oh, you made your bed, now lie in it. Was
Yeah,
basically
yeah,
what
yeah,
it was.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, I
All
heard
right.
those.
Well, now we've got the moon card, which is
Mm,
illusion, dreams, and the subconscious. Now, my question for you is, how do you deal with people you're unhappy with? Um,
mm. Just to go back to the last question, another mentor I had was the therapist, Margaret, who she was a Gestalt therapist,
mhm.
and I think it was the first time I encountered who I really was, and I was 32.
32.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
It was a big, uh, big thing for me. Yeah. She was wonderful. She still is wonderful. We're still
Isn't that
friends.
isn't that amazing? I didn't start living for myself until later in life, and
Yeah,
hearing you say that you didn't
same
really
thing.
meet yourself until later on in life, that's I feel that. I feel that in my soul,
Yeah.
understanding who we are may have come later, but hey, it came, you know.
Yep. 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 Grateful for that. I'm really grateful for that. So
Um,
sorry to get back to this question. The
oh,
illusion, dreams, and the subconscious. Go ahead.
um, how do you deal with people you're unhappy with? Like normally this question originally was,
Depends.
how do you deal with enemies? For instance, I stick them in the freezer. Um, but how do you deal with people you're unhappy
I
with? You
fry them
avoid
up and
them,
have them for lunch.
right?
Um,
Do you confront them?
it depends on the situation. I ended a 40-year friendship. It took me two, well, first I became aware of the toxicity in that relationship. And then it took me another 2 years to end the relationship. And I didn't do any confrontation. I just blocked, and I had stated my issues and was met with deflection, dismissal, all the stuff. And I said, okay, fine. Then I don't want to continue with this. You're not the person that I met. You're not the person that I knew even 2 years ago, even 3 years ago. And then she said, well, this is the real me. And I thought, well, you're a fucking bitch. And and I just blocked her, and I haven't spoken to her since. And it's been 7 years, I think. And we were very, very close. We were like sisters. It broke my heart, but it had to be done because she was not a good influence for me at all. So that's one way of dealing with it. Um,
When people don't allow us to grow,
well,
it
and continue to use and continue to just like not be kind and not be supportive. Like I don't want that in my life at all. So yeah, it's a good day, Bowen.
I love Bowen. He is one of my favorite people in the world. He is the best hugs.
Yeah.
He's our coven's groundskeeper.
Oh,
Um,
I have groundskeepers, as you can see.
oh, we've got a beautiful grounds at the coven stead. Our high priestess grows her own herbs to make with everything. Um, yeah, I I will let people know where I stand. I won't
Yeah.
necessarily become confrontational. They
No,
can
no.
make it confrontational if they want, but
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
I will
Same.
create my boundaries.
Same. I just, I say this is how I feel, and this is what I see happening, and I don't like it, and it hurts me, and then depending on what I'm met with, we can go through it, or I just say, okay, well, then I guess this relationship has run its course, you know.
Yeah. Um, I'm at that stage in my life now, Linda, where I don't have time or space for people
Oh God,
who
no, me neither. I have limited time left. Like I'll be grateful. I know that I'm going to get another 20 years out of this life. Okay. I know that. I've been told that. And it's been confirmed multiple times. And so that means I've got 20 years to get done what I have to get done. And I don't have time for bullshit. I'm sorry. I just don't. And
yeah,
I certainly don't have time to waste on people who don't value me and who don't support me. I just don't.
agreed. That's one of the main things I tell my clients is you are the center of your universe.
Yes.
You need to remember that. Don't
Yeah.
make somebody else the center of your universe.
Oh God, I wish somebody had told me that when I was 18.
You know, I wouldn't have listened to anything anybody told me when I was young. I remember having a discussion outside of a bar with three older gay gentlemen, and I think they were in their 50s, 60s at the time, and I was about 22 or 3. and I thought I knew everything, and we were talking, and they were just kind of each other and doing the giggle laughing thing. Looking
Yeah.
back now, I understand why they were giggling and laughing.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
at the time, I thought I had all the answers. But
Yeah.
looking back, yeah, now
Yeah.
I'm that old dude
Yeah.
laughing and giggling when the younger people
At the
talk.
22-year-olds.
At
Yeah.
the 22-year-olds, exactly. We're
Yeah.
almost done. We've got the Sun card, the Judgment card, and then the World card. So let's go on to the Sun, which is joy, success, and vitality. What did I do with my Sun? Oh, there it is. See, the Sun.
With
And
that weird naked baby on the horse.
yeah, creepy baby. Okay. That's actually supposed to be Apollo, I found out.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I didn't.
I
This
didn't know
doesn't look
that.
like
That's
Apollo to
interesting.
me. No, because
No,
this
me
card is
neither.
it's the sun, Apollo. Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
my question for you, my dear, is what brings you joy and how do you celebrate your successes?
Um, joy is what I'm doing right now. Joy is reading for people. Joy is doing my lives. Joy is working with other readers. Any kind of reader. I'm like wide open, tarot, whatever, oracle. Who cares? I that brings me. Yeah. Yes, Cheryl. That brings me a huge amount of joy, and I can truthfully with my whole chest say I am happier now than I have ever been in my whole life. The
Me too.
the joy that I get from reading, the joy that I get from connecting with people, because the members on my channel, I started a Discord server for the members on my channel, and we send, we post like memes. And oh, cool. Oh yeah, that's right. He is, isn't he, Jonathan? We post, we connect with each other on more or less deep levels. There's a lot of discussions about a lot of different things. That brings me a great deal of joy. Hi, Leah. Um, Helga, we're not doing
Hel-
readings tonight. This is a
yeah, Helga, honey, we're doing a discussion tonight. I'm asking questions of our lovely Linda de Gonzalez tonight, but please make sure you subscribe to both our channels, and when we do live readings, you'll be notified. Um,
But yeah, that's what brings me the greatest joy. That and being with good friends. Um, I love sharing a meal with good friends and just talking and laughing, late into the night. If we, to me, those are, yeah, big joyful moments for me with people I love. Yeah.
love it, love it, love it, love it. I take joy anywhere I can find it. I really do,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
life is too short not to enjoy it every
Yeah.
chance you get.
Absolutely. Life brings you enough tears. You don't have to look for them, but you do have to look for the laughs.
Yeah, there's always going to be something to bring you down. You got to find the things that are going to make you
Yeah,
happy.
you got to look for them. You got to be willing to jump on them when they show up and go, it's
Exactly.
true.
So now we've got judgment, which symbolizes judgment and inner calling and rebirth. Um, it's the judgment card says it's time to reflect on our lives. If they were creating a movie based on your life, what would it be called?
Fuck if I know. That's a good title. Yeah, yeah. Go with that. Go with that because I didn't set out to do any. Yes, Jacqueline, glimmers. That's right. That's right. Tarot Stash is on to something really, really important with the glimmers. Really important.
Yes.
Um, okay, so my joy is coming from following my inner calling. And it was a rebirth for me to kind of reinvent myself from retired accounting clerk to psychic medium and Akashic Records reader. Um, wow. I don't know what else to say. The title of the movie. Because I really truly don't know. I didn't know any of this when I started. I didn't know. I certainly would never have believed anyone at the start of the pandemic, like 5 years ago, who would have said, "Oh, you're going to be on YouTube. You're going to have a YouTube."
Right?
Yeah, I never would have believed
Yes.
anybody who said that. I would have said, "Yeah, you're full of it. Who wants to be? I mean, come on, like an influencer? Yeah, sure. Like I want to be one of those people. I don't. It was never an ambition of mine, and never wanted to put myself out like this. It was never something I considered doing at all. So yeah, I really don't know what I'm doing. I'm just going where I'm called when I feel it, So
Gotcha.
yeah, that's the name of my life. I don't know anything.
I don't know anything. That's a great title for a movie.
Don't.
It's
Because you got to
true.
remember, you can't confuse me with the messages of the masters, okay? You hear my readings and you hear my voice and you see my face and my eyes are closed and I'm talking about, being a peasant in 15th century France or whatever. This is not me. I'm telling you what the masters are showing me, okay? Like, keep that in mind.
It's
I'm
interesting.
I'm a human. I fart. I lose my temper. I cry. I get frustrated. All of those kinds of things. And I'm very lazy. Oh God, I'm so lazy. And
Me too.
there you are. I really need a housekeeper. I'm very bad at housekeeping. I'll tell you that right now.
I'll
And
do
it's
it
been my
twice a
whole life.
week. That's it. Twice a week. I've got to go buy a mop tonight or tomorrow, actually. That's the big highlight of my week. Buying a mop. I'm a really bad housekeeper. I really am. I keep the house clean because I work out of it. I have my clients come here. But I
Yeah.
really hate doing house. If I could afford one, I would buy a maid.
Yeah, me
Not
too.
rent. I would purchase a maid to
No,
keep.
you would purchase a housekeeping service because it doesn't have to be a maid. I would
Whatever.
accept anybody who wanted to come and help me
Oh,
clean
I
my
don't mind a dude coming if he's shirtless and cleaning my house, and I have no problem with that. So we're down to our last card, my dear, which is the world. Let's switch this on here. Dun, da, da, da. The world represents completion, achievement, and fulfillment. Now, it is a great big world out there. Where would you like to go and why?
I have a mission. I know this sounds like so pretentious and everything, but this is the honest to God truth. I have a mission to start a spiritual community in Portugal.
Why Portugal?
Don't ask me, it's what they told me. And it's something that that's been percolating for a couple of years now, that I've been thinking of moving to Portugal and looking into it and looking at everything I can find, on YouTube and anywhere else about Portugal and about all the rest of it. And last fall, I got the word that no, this wasn't for me. This was to start a spiritual community, a place where people can go and just be like, have a retreat if they want, or where they can go and take, say, a long weekend of tarot, upgrading their tarot skills, or a long weekend of meditation. Well, you're absolutely welcome to a long weekend of meditation, or yoga, or any of those kinds of things that help you develop spiritually. And so that's that's the achievement. Now, I did get the great gift of a reading with Sterling, psychic medium, last summer, a year ago. I won it because I sure as hell couldn't afford his rates. But no shame on Sterling. He's worth every penny. I'm absolutely 100% positive. I asked him this was before I knew it was to start a spiritual community, when I thought I was just moving there, like, because I wanted to. Which I did, sincerely. I was learning. I took Portuguese off of Duolingo for like a year, and then it's a very skinny course. Like there's not much to it, so I finished it within a year and didn't keep it up. So now I'll probably have to do it over again. Anyway, um, um, he said that I would be in Portugal in 3 or 4 years. So that was last year. So I'm looking at 2028. Now, I've looked at properties. I've found a beautiful hotel, 20 rooms that would be,
Really?
oh, yes, it's beautiful. 1.2 million euros. So I'm looking at a budget of about 5 million Canadian dollars. Um, and um, oh, and why Portugal in specific? I just saw your question, Leah. Why Portugal specifically is because of world events. That's all I know. So things happening in the world will make Portugal an attractive place to have a kind of community like that. So, yeah. Yeah, exactly what I want to do, Jonathan. A rotating cast of teachers cycling through, and because it's a 20-room hotel, so you have, you know, a long weekend for the classes, and then the rest of the time it's a hotel. This particular hotel that I was looking at has a well-known restaurant as part of it, and there are some suites that could be for longer term people, like 1 month or 3 months or 6 months. There's some houses on the property. There's, I believe, 3 houses on the, it's got a vineyard, it's got gardens, it's got a thermal swimming pool that's fed from thermal baths, like hot springs. It's perfect. Yeah. So that's my mission now, is to get that started.
That's awesome.
I don't know how to do it. I keep buying lottery tickets. I'm scared to ask for investors because that's other people's money. Okay. I can't screw that up. That's their money.
Yeah, but you're looking at it the wrong way. These people with money need somebody to do this for them, and they don't know how to do it. So that's where you come in. So
I don't have any experience in hoteling or doing any of that kind of stuff. I mean, I research like a bastard. You wouldn't believe what a good researcher I am. But I mean, that's nothing like, yeah, see, Leah, I don't want to do GoFundMe because it's other people's money. And
well, if you do end up doing it, I'll go down and I'd be a part of it. I've been wanting to do something like that my whole life.
To me, it's like, it's a real responsibility to have the responsibility of other people's money. If it doesn't, because let's face it, it probably won't make money for the first 3 years. All right. So these have to be people that are willing to live with not making money the first 3 years. So that, I got to tell you that whole thing, I just feel that responsibility very keenly. And yeah. So yeah, I still don't know how. I'm waiting for my guides to tell me. And they've said, don't worry about the money. You worry about the pennies. We'll worry about the dollars. Okie dokie. So I'm looking after my pennies and letting them worry about the dollars, and buying lottery tickets every so often. When it hits, 50 million, I buy a lottery ticket. Which reminds me, I got to check. I've got one in my wallet right now. But you see what I mean? Like how do you manage the ownership? Like there's a whole bunch of business questions that I have that I would need to consult with a business lawyer about. But in Portugal, okay, because this is in Portugal. Yeah. So like, what's the business structure of such a place? If it is GoFundMe, is the money mine to do what I want with? Are these co-owners? What the hell? Like, how do you figure that out? So yeah.
I agree with Donna Marie. It's like putting in money, and those can teach without pay. It's part of their investment.
Well, they can't teach without pay. I do not believe in they provide a service, they deserve to get paid for it. Yeah, absolutely. They deserve to get paid, and they deserve the room and board to be covered as well.
Well, I think that putting it out there into the universe is the first step. So there you go.
Yeah, so I talk about it. I talk about it, sometimes on my channel, and you asked, and so I told you what
I
my
love it.
life achievement is. And so, yeah, that for me, that would be my life's achievement, is getting that started and getting it going. There,
Do you know that song by Tina Marie, Portuguese Love? No?
no, I
Oh,
don't even know who Tina Marie is. Let me write
she's
this down.
she's a musician. It's a beautiful love song.
That reminds me, I was supposed to send Diane. I haven't forgotten. I was supposed to send you Dos Gardenias para ti. What was the name of that song? Portuguese Love?
Yes. Tina Marie.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, she did
Go
love a
on.
girl. Yeah, I think she passed away a couple years ago. She
Oh,
was a
really?
phenomenal musician. Anyway, Linda, thank you so much for this.
Oh,
We're at
thank you
an
for
hour.
putting up with me.
No, I had a wonderful time. You are just
So did I.
fascinating to talk to. Stick
Thank you.
around backstage and
I will.
we'll chat. You guys, I'm gonna before we end it, I am gonna open the floor real quick to see if anybody has any questions to Linda. I forgot that part. Um, so if you do have, excuse me, a question for Linda, let's know. Otherwise,
Big hugs right back, Donna Marie.
you guys have all been awesome today. I
Yeah,
love the chat that's been going
yeah.
on.
I want to thank my members who showed up. Like, thank you so much. You showed up twice today for me. I got to tell you, thank you from the bottom of my heart. You're my rock. You really are. Get a card for my training at my new gig. Oh, are we going to do that?
No, we're not
Okay.
pulling cards today, Leah, but
Okay.
these are just questions for Linda about her.
Yeah, like
Uh,
for me as a person, not for the Akashic Records.
Yeah, not for the Akashic Records. I know I want to ask for we've got to schedule a reading time.
Yeah, sure. Anytime.
It doesn't look like you looks like you covered pretty much everything, Linda. And you
I
guys,
bared my heart for sure. Oh,
it was
Tarot Flash was here, you sneaky bugger, you.
I saw him sneak back in a little while ago. Yeah, when he
I
was chatting.
know. Oh, maybe he won't watch the replay. He won't know we talked about him.
Of course he will. This is Gerald we're talking about.
He knows everything. I know. You can't hide anything from Gerald.
I tell everybody, Chris Butler was the one who suggested that I start a channel, but it was Gerald who encouraged me to keep it going.
And he
So,
encouraged me too. And he taught me so much.
yeah,
So much.
yeah,
So
eh,
much. And I
yeah.
stole so much from him. I stole formatting. I stole, intros.
Is French your first language?
Yes, it is. Yes,
It,
French is my first language.
oh, you sexy bitch, say something. Oof! Ugh.
Ah, quoi, qu'est-ce que vous voulez que je dise? I don't know what that means.
I mean, so we say
Oh, okay. Oh, you steal my heart. That one. Okay, I get it. Yes,
Lovely.
yes. French is my first language. I can speak Spanish. No, I won't name Portuguese. No.
You better learn if you're going to be out there running.
I know. I have to refresh it. I have to get serious about learning it. And Duolingo is not the way to do it. So we'll see what happens.
Okay.
We'll see what the guys show me.
Start little
Cortisone.
nips. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for being here, and thank you again, Linda. What do you have coming up?
Thank you. Tomorrow, Diane G and I are premiering a new series that we've created. It's called Into the Ether. We're doing it on my channel, and she's simulcasting. So please subscribe to both of our channels and come and watch this. Diane is a very skilled and very excellent emotional and soul healer. She clears emotional blockages. She like emotional blockages as well as soul blockages. and energy blockages. You know what I'm talking about.
Right.
And she's just phenomenal. She is absolutely phenomenal. So we're doing that tomorrow at 2 o'clock Pacific, 5 o'clock Eastern, and Thursday Gerald's going to be on my channel for our usual shenanigans, and then next week Akashic Adventures on Tuesday. I'll be hosting next week, and Viviani will be simulcasting, and maybe oil paint. Maybe Diana will too. I'm not sure if she's got that set up yet. So we'll see. But yeah, that's what
Gotcha.
I'm doing in the next few days.
As far as me, what I got coming up on the 8th, which is Thursday, we start a new series. Selena, Ramon, and I will
That's going
be
to be
doing
fun.
Behind the Moon, and I'm excited about that. With
Yeah,
the
me too.
addition of Ramon, it's just like completion
Yeah,
perfect. And then
yeah,
I've
he's
got
amazing.
on the 13th, I'm reading with Jeff, Jeff Bailey, Tarot Back Ass Words,
Yeah, yeah.
and then I've got the 23rd, Sun Psychic Gene will be on Behind the Cards. And then I know I have something else coming up. Oh, Elizabeth, the more intuitive me. I knew there was something. She'll be coming up on Behind the Cards too. I think that's the 25th or 26th. So yeah, a lot of stuff going on, folks. And we're going to go ahead and end this. Linda, you've been fantastic.
Oh,
Everybody
thank you.
love you. Make
Thank you
sure
so
you
much for having
subscribe.
me, Bahigh.
Thank you. And make sure you subscribe to both our channels, everybody. And I'll see you on the next video. Okay? Bye.